Elias Moore had long ago resigned himself to a queue of solitude, buried under the hoods of rusted engines and the relentless hum of his auto shop in Portland, Oregon. The city's perpetual drizzle mirrored the gray fog that had settled over his soul since that fateful day years ago. At 45, he was a man of few words, his broad shoulders hunched from more than just the weight of tools. Grease stained his calloused hands, and his beard, streaked with silver, hid the lines of regret etched into his face. Locals knew him as the Wizard of Restorations, the guy who could breathe life back into a '67 Mustang or a vintage Chevy with the precision of a surgeon. But they didn't know the man behind the wrench. No one dared ask about the faded photo tucked into the corner of his workbench, showing a younger Elias with a gap-toothed boy on his shoulders, both laughing under a summer sun. That photo was a ghost, a reminder of Caleb, his son. 8 years old when the world shattered. Elias had promised to pick him up from school that Friday, but the bottle had called louder than usual. Not blackout drunk, just enough to blur the edges, to make him think he had time for one more drink. Caleb, impatient and trusting, decided to walk the few blocks home. A truck barreling through a red light ended it all. Instant, they said. No pain. But Elias felt it every day, the crushing guilt, the what-ifs that played on loop in his mind. He'd quit drinking cold turkey, thrown himself into work, and built walls so high no one could scale them. He wasn't a father anymore. He didn't deserve to be. The shop was quiet that overcast afternoon, the kind of day where the rain threatened but never quite fell. Elias was elbow-deep in a carburetor when the bell above the door jingled. He glanced up, expecting a customer with a flat tire or an oil change request. Instead, a small boy stood there, no more than 5, clutching a battered toy truck like it was his lifeline. The truck's red paint was chipped, one wheel hanging by a thread, and a deep crack split its plastic frame. The kid's sneakers were scuffed, his jeans muddy at the knees, but his eyes, wide, bright blue, and full of unfiltered hope, locked onto Elias with unwavering trust. "Excuse me, sir," the boy said, his voice high and earnest. "Can you fix my truck? Mommy's tired, and you look like you know how." Elias froze, wrench suspended mid-turn. Kids didn't come into his shop. Hell, people barely did unless they had to. Behind the boy, a woman hurried in, her face flushed with embarrassment. She was in her late 20s, with dark hair pulled into a messy ponytail and shadows under her eyes that spoke of long nights. She wore faded scrubs, the kind nurses sported after a brutal shift. "I'm so sorry," she stammered, scooping the boy up. "He wandered off while I was unloading the car. We live just down the block, Milo, you can't do that." Milo. The name hit Elias like a spark plug misfiring. The woman, June Taylor, as he'd later learn, was a trauma nurse at Providence Street. Vincent Medical Center. Double shifts were her norm, juggling life as a single guardian in a world that didn't slow down for exhaustion. But even in her disheveled state, she had a quiet strength, a warmth that radiated like the first break of sun after a storm. Elias cleared his throat, setting the wrench down. "It's no trouble," he muttered, surprised by his own words. He eyed the toy truck. "Hand it over, kid. Let's see what we're dealing with." Milo's face lit up like a dashboard on full power. He wriggled free from June's arms and thrust the truck forward. As Elias examined it, nothing a bit of super glue and a spare wheel from his junk drawer couldn't handle. Milo perched on a stool, chattering away. "I'm Milo. I'm 5. I go to Fairwood Elementary. Do you fix big trucks too? Like monster trucks? My truck's name is Zoomer. He goes super fast, but not now 'cause he's broken." Elias grunted responses, focusing on the repair to avoid the boy's infectious energy. But Milo didn't stop. He talked about school, his favorite cartoons, and how Friday was fix-it day in class, where kids brought someone to demonstrate repairs. "But I don't got anyone," Milo said softly, his enthusiasm dipping. "Daddy's gone, and Mommy works a lot. Maybe you could come. You're a fixer." June protested immediately. "Milo, honey, Mr. Moore is busy. We can't ask that." But Elias, staring at the mended truck, felt something crack inside him, a fissure in the armor he'd worn for so long. "What time?" he asked, handing the toy back. Fairwood Elementary buzzed with chaos that Friday morning. Parents in business casual milled about, showcasing gadgets and tools. Elias arrived in his grease-stained jeans and work boots, feeling like an oil slick in a sea of polished chrome. Milo spotted him instantly, waving wildly from his desk. "This is my fixer," he announced to the class, beaming with pride. They sat at a station, rebuilding a simple wind-up toy car. Elias guided Milo's small hands, showing him how to twist wires and align gears. The teacher, Mrs. Hargrove, circled the room, asking each fixer about their work. When she reached them, Milo piped up before Elias could. "He fixes cars and toys and hearts, I think. Just slower." The room fell silent. Elias's throat tightened, memories of Caleb flooding back. Caleb, who'd once said, "Dad, you fix everything, even when I'm sad." He looked away, blinking hard, but the shift was undeniable. For the first time in years, the weight on his chest lightened, just a fraction. That evening, under the amber glow of a streetlight, Elias sat on the tailgate of his truck with June, sharing takeout burritos. Milo played nearby, zooming his repaired truck across the pavement. "Thank you," June said softly. That meant everything to him. He hasn't had a male role model since, well, ever. Elias stared at his hands, the grease lines like scars. The words built up, a dam ready to burst. "I had a son once. Caleb. He was 8, full of life. Loved trains, maps, said the world needed more kindness without waiting." His voice cracked. "I promised to pick him up from school, but I'd been drinking. Not hammered, just enough." He walked home alone. Got hit by a truck. Died instantly, they said. But I've been dying ever since. June listened, tears tracing silent paths down her cheeks. She didn't interrupt, didn't offer platitudes. When he finished, she shared her own burden. "Milo isn't my son biologically. He's my nephew. My brother, his dad, died in a street race when I was 23. Drunk, reckless. Our parents were already gone. I took Milo from the hospital and raised him. I've been mom, aunt, everything. Some days, I feel like I'm drowning, holding it all together by sheer will." In that shared vulnerability, under the Portland stars peeking through clouds, they found a fragile connection. Two souls scarred by loss, recognizing the echo in each other's pain. The bond deepened over the next weeks. Elias started dropping by after shifts, helping with small fixes around June's modest apartment, leaky faucets, squeaky doors. Milo adored him, dubbing him, Mr. Fix-It. June and Elias shared coffees, late-night talks about dreams deferred and regrets that lingered like engine smoke. Then came the crisis. June's frantic call shattered the budding routine. "Elias, Milo's sick. High fever, vomiting, now seizures. I'm at the please come." He raced to Providence Street. Vincent, overalls still on, heart pounding. June paced the waiting room, her scrubs rumpled, face etched with terror. "He was fine this morning," she sobbed. "Now they're running tests, meningitis. Infection. I can't lose him." Elias pulled her into a hug, his voice steady despite the storm inside. "I couldn't save Caleb. Made the worst mistake of my life. But I'm here now. We're in this together." Hours blurred into a vigil of beeps and whispers. Doctors came and went, diagnosing a severe viral infection complicated by dehydration. Milo seized twice more, his tiny body convulsing on the bed. Elias held June as she wept, murmuring assurances he barely believed himself. Finally, as dawn broke, Milo stabilized. His eyes fluttered open, landing on Elias. "You stayed," he whispered hoarsely. "Yeah, buddy," Elias replied, brushing damp curls from the boy's forehead. "And I'm staying." Recovery was slow, but it knit them closer. Milo's hospital stay revealed June's isolation, no family support, just her against the world. Elias became a fixture, bringing books and toys, reading stories in his gruff voice until Milo giggled. But peace was short-lived. Days after discharge, a knock echoed through June's apartment. On the porch stood Eleanor, Milo's paternal grandmother, a stern woman in her 60s, lips pursed in disapproval. She hadn't contacted them in years, blaming June for her son's death. "I hear you've got some mechanic playing pretend family," she sneered. "This isn't stable. I'm filing for custody. Milo needs real family." June's world tilted. "You abandoned us," she shot back. "No calls, no visits. You can't waltz in now." The custody battle loomed like a thundercloud. Lawyers were hired, statements prepared. Eleanor painted June as overworked and unfit, Elias is an interloper with a tragic past. He's not blood, her attorney argued. And his history. Reckless endangerment of a child. The courtroom was a sterile arena of polished wood and echoing footsteps. June and Elias sat rigidly, Milo between them, clutching a toy truck. Witnesses testified, neighbors praising June's dedication, colleagues vouching for her strength. Elias spoke haltingly of his redemption, how Milo had reignited his purpose. Then, the judge called Milo. The boy shuffled forward, small in the vast room. "I don't remember my real dad," he said, voice trembling but clear. "But I remember being scared. Not anymore. With Aunt June and Mr. Elias, I'm safe. He makes pancakes, even if they're burned. She sings when she's tired. They don't leave." The judge's gavel fell like mercy. Custody remains with Ms. Taylor. This child is thriving. Relief washed over them like rain finally breaking. In the aftermath, life bloomed. June secured a part-time shift, allowing more time at home. Elias sold his prized Mustang, the one he'd restored with Caleb in mind, for a down payment on a kid-friendly workshop extension. Caleb's Corner, he named it, a space for local children to tinker, fix toys, learn skills. Fatherless kids found mentorship there, Elias channeling his grief into healing. One rainy Saturday, Elias discovered a drawing on the fridge. 3 stick figures, tall bearded man, woman with long hair, small boy, labeled, family fixers. Milo hugged him tight. "You fixed us, Mr. Elias." "No, kid," Elias whispered, eyes misty. "You fixed me." They didn't label it, aunt, mechanic, nephew. They just lived it, family forged in brokenness, mended by love. Elias, once a ghost of a man, embraced his second chance. June found a partner in the storm. Milo. He had 2 people who'd never leave. In quiet moments, Elias pondered the question that haunted him. If given a second chance to be the father he failed to be, would he take it? Fear had nearly won, but love proved stronger. Some breaks can't be glued, but hearts. Hearts heal in unexpected ways.